Welcome back to Sims Complete. I'm your host, Matt Sims, alongside Phil Sims. We're back. Super Bowl weekend is approaching.
Right.
Can't get here soon enough. Looking forward to this weekend, big guy. How you doing? How you feeling leading up to the week of the Super Bowl?
Oh, yeah, I'm excited. It's Wednesday. It's coming. Can't wait. The closer it gets, the more I can't sleep because, come on, the winner, it's such a big deal and such a big moment for these teams. And I guess I'm going to start this show off by this. Matt was annoyed because I wasn't ready quite on time. I was doing other stuff, trying to make a living, Matt. That's all I'm trying to do. Just trying to, stay
quite on time is one way to explain being 50 minutes late, but that's okay. I understand.
Okay. Well, you know how hard it is to nail you down when I can get a little bit of your time?
Uh-huh. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Way to redirect again. Yeah. Blame it on somebody else, Phil. That's
good at it.
Yeah, you are.
Never take the blame as a quarterback if you don't have to, because there's enough blame coming our way no matter what.
Yeah, good lesson for the young QBs out there. Don't take the blame. Blame someone else.
Yeah, just say, well, coach, it's the design of the play. It stinks.
Yeah.
Son, let me think for a second. Get your ass on the bench. Yeah, okay. Oh, good. But, yeah, hey, come on. It is exciting.
Yeah.
The only thing that really bothers me a little bit is that it will be the last game. It used to be, well, we got the Pro Bowl the following week, and of course that thing fell apart. And I can't even describe.
Did you watch at all any of those things?
Come on.
I'm sorry for asking.
Come on. I'd rather be smacked in the back of the head with anything else. I don't know. No, of course not.
Yeah.
I mean, there was other things on. I think I ended up watching a rerun, or I filmed it, or taped it, I should say, of the Senior Bowl. I'd kind of been watching as much as I could here and there.
Yeah.
So I think on Sunday, Saturday and Sunday, I spent a little time each day just watching the Senior Bowl. It was actually kind of exciting, pretty wide open. It was good. A lot of good stuff to watch. Man, I don't know if it was a great day for some of the quarterbacks because some of these DNs were having some fun.
Yeah. Well, all-star games are always difficult. I feel like for the offensive side and even just for quarterbacks to be in rhythm, especially for the fact that they're learning the offense for the first time just a few days earlier. I mean, defense, it's easy. See ball, get ball. So they can fly around and get after a little bit more. But we'll definitely dive more into the Senior Bowl, guys that are coming out of the draft this year, risers and fallers in the stock and all that kind of stuff, and get into the nitty-gritty with that. But let's focus a little bit more on the damn game this weekend in Nolens.
All right. You want me to start it off?
Yeah, go ahead. What's on your mind, big guy?
Let's kind of do it this way. Let's talk about like Kansas City's offense, and then after we do that, let's go to the Philadelphia defense. What's important and all that. No, let's just kind of go over what we all think about, Kansas City's offense. And so,
all right, lead us off. What do you think?
Well, I would say I got some numbers here. That's why I got glasses, so I can at least have a little idea of what I wrote down.
All right.
The Kansas City's offense. Here's what. When we first saw Patrick Mahomes in the Super Bowl, what was it? It was bombs away. Look what they're doing. It was truly trend-setting, incredible stuff.
Right.
Tyreek Hill, the deep passes, the crossers. Nobody in NFL football was doing that. But now, as I read what I got in front of me, it's a pick offense throwing the football.
Right.
They don't throw many really deep throws down the field. As much as they probably could. If they get man-to-man outside and it's bump and run, they're not like, let's take a 40 or 50-yard shot. They're looking to calculate, or whatever you want to say, is march the ball down the field, and can somebody take a 10-yard pass and turn it into a 30-yard game? Yeah. That kind of thing. They're trying to beat you with their system more than just their raw talent. So that's my first thought. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's spot on, and I think everyone is well aware of that. Do you feel like they'll be able to run the football somewhat consistently behind their offensive line and with Kareem Hunt and I guess Isaiah Pacheco as well? But it does seem like it's a little bit more heavy or leaning towards Kareem Hunt kind of being running back number one here throughout the playoffs.
I think it's going to be tough. Listen, the run game, as you know, playing all the years you did in all levels or whatever, that it just doesn't all of a sudden magically appear.
Yeah.
It's like a slow process. We're getting better. We're getting tougher. Will they run the ball? Of course they will. Andy Reid knows, try to keep the game balanced, keep the defense honest, and he'll do it that way. I would be really surprised if they have even. I expect them to have I don't even want to say moderate success. I would say I'd be surprised. I think it's going to be below that. I really do.
Do you think that the Chiefs maybe will take the approach of, let's say, the New England Patriots versus the Legion of Boom and the Seattle Seahawks? Will they try to throw it more and be more aggressive through the short passing game? Let Patrick Mahomes see it, dissect zone coverage, get the football out of his hand quickly in order to wear out the defensive line and to just let their best player have the football every time? Or do you expect them kind of having a similar game plan to what we saw against the Buffalo Bills?
I guess a little similar to Buffalo. Like I said, I think they'll keep it balanced. I would say this too, with Vic Fangio and what Andy Reid does, I think it is there for them to nitpick their way down the field, especially early in the game. Come on, we all know, and I know, and any quarterback knows, there's nothing like getting out and just, if it doesn't matter, Matt, if it's a 2-yard pass, you're like, felt good coming out of my hand.
Right.
Get a few short passes that way. But I look at Philadelphia's defense. I have no analytics on this, but they're going to play quite a bit of zone. Vic Fangio is noted to be one of the great zone teachers, probably in NFL history as a defensive coordinator.
Yeah.
So there's going to be some open spaces. We saw it last week against Buffalo, who was somewhat aggressive early, but it didn't help them. Patrick Mahomes, I thought, ate them up early in the game, in that first drive. And I expect to see a little bit of that. What's the word for it? Diversion, trying to fool you a little bit. As we know, the Chiefs, shifting, motion, quarterback getting out of the pocket. Travis Kelce's supposed to run a hook over the middle. Instead, he catches one on the sideline for some reason because he said that's where the open spot is, big guy.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what I expect. What are you thinking?
Yeah, and I'm kind of curious too. I just forget my thoughts. I want to keep kind of hearing what you have to say about this. But who will be? Of course, we always go back to Travis Kelce, but who else is going to be the guy that you think can consistently just create space if Vic Fangio, for whatever reason, does decide to play a lot of man coverage in this situation?
Well, I think no matter what they do, there's always an alert. Where's Travis Kelce?
Yeah.
Okay, that's one.
Yeah.
And I looked at my sheet, the last few days going, which receiver is going to be the guy?
Right.
For the Kansas City Chiefs. And okay, Worthy, we know the speed and all that.
Juju came up big in the AFC Championship game. So that he only had 2 catches, but they were 2 big plays for them. So it did offset, I guess, the lack of production by the rest of the crew.
Yes. Well, Juju was definitely in my thoughts. But the other one that came, and I said, boy, DeAndre Hopkins. I don't know why I picked it, but I just saw him. He does have a great presence on the field. And, right now, Kansas City is spreading the ball out to everybody. That's one of the reasons for success. Yeah. But I'm looking at DeAndre Hopkins and going, my God, he's waited for this his whole football career. This is a chance. And you know what? I just, sometimes in these kind of games, it's somebody you're not thinking of, but the toughness. Look, I think he's tough. I think he still has some talent. He lacks, overall big time speed. That's for sure. But he would be the one, as I did this, besides Travis Kelce and besides throwing the football to the running back when they do or whatever, I looked at DeAndre Hopkins and say he might be the surprise of the game for the Chiefs.
And it's always, I feel like every Super Bowl we have that performance or someone making a play or two outside of the norm. Just a year ago was Marquez Valdez-Scantling for the Kansas City Chiefs being that guy.
Yeah.
So I would love it to see if it was DeAndre Hopkins in that situation. And again, even Samaje Perine out of the backfield in the biggest play of the game. So I guess for Kansas City, it really just be about, do you think, will they do something differently offensively to combat just the strong defensive line by the Philadelphia Eagles? Or do you think that they'll do a good enough job with 5, 6, 7-man protections and just running their normal day-to-day offense against this defensive line?
I think that's possible. I think no matter what, we're going to see some different pass protections from the Chiefs this week that we did not see against the Buffalo Bills. I mean, it would be crazy to think that you're going to protect against all these guys that can rush the passer for Philadelphia. And the
Right.
big one is Caliendo, the left guard. And the one thing I've noticed, and you look at who they are, Joe Tooney, a guard playing tackle, has really come through for him. That's big time. But Jalen Carter, Jordan Davis, all those, the speed of the linebackers, blitzing or whatever, but there's going to be opportunities. They're going to get Jalen Carter. It's going to be one-on-one against the left guard, Caliendo. And, you know, I don't mean to pick on him, but of the 5, I put him as number 5.
Okay.
And how do they get it inside? Jalen Carter usually lines up to the defense's left, offense right, but they run a lot of games inside. And, man, I think they're really good at it. You saw that in the Rams game when it counted. And that would give you chances to get one-on-one against an inside pass protector where you can really – nothing worse than having pressure inside as to a quarterback. Nothing worse.
Yeah. Right.
And so that one jumped out to me. I got to even give him credit. Your brother said it, and I don't like to steal too much of his stuff, but I went back and I looked at it, you know, quite a bit of just the defensive line of Philadelphia, and I said, ooh, he's right. This could be something that really changes the game. So I don't know if I answered. What about you? Who's your wide receiver guy besides DeAndre Hopkins? And don't even pick Worthy, because no matter what, they're going to have a group of plays for him to get a chance to take that ball and make a play. I mean,
outside of that, I agree. I mean, it really has to be DeAndre or Juju that comes up clutch. And I don't really even expect it to be explosive plays. I think the biggest thing that I see at being advantageous to the Kansas City Chiefs is just being able to catch contested throws consistently throughout the football game and just staying on target. And then can Andy and or Patrick Mahomes, can they manipulate the pocket at times to create some separation, be patient in the run game, and maybe have a few plays, 1 or 2 off plays that just kind of reset that defensive line? And that's where I'm also curious if there's a possibility that they try to do a little bit of what the Washington Commanders did with their rookie quarterback and Jaden Daniels and try to go tempo and just, hey, this drive, normal tempo, in and out of the huddle, all that. Okay, next drive, we're going to speed it up. We're going to get to the line of scrimmage. We're going to have X amount of calls for this situation. We're going to just get them in their second unit on the defensive line. When they sub out, we're going to hit tempo and be aggressive and try to move a little bit faster. So I'm curious to see if they use tempo as a weapon. It worked well for Jaden Daniels. And I feel like for a Patrick Mahomes, who's as experienced as any quarterback in the NFL, he would be able to operate at a very high level using tempo as his advantage to get the Philadelphia Eagles in a more of a stale alignment more consistently defensively.
You know, it's a really good thought. You know, I think my only drawback is I haven't seen the Chiefs really do that.
It's not them. Yeah.
It's not them. You know, listen, and, you know, I filled out a sheet talking about the coaches, who's got this, all these things, who's the better coach. But we know Andy Reid's going to have a tremendous game plan. And if it doesn't work, he does have the backup plans. And I think he's one of these coaches. And I'll jump over here to Kansas City's defense. Steve Spagnuolo does the same thing. They always keep something in reserve.
You're right.
You know, it's not like they're not going to eat the dessert before the main meal.
Yeah.
They're going to eat that main meal as long as they can until they have to go to the dessert.
Right.
And that's kind of how I look at their offense. And so a lot of this is about Andy Reid. Protection's got to be probably the number one thing they were talking about all week long, and designing things. Is it going to be the tight ends blocking, which they've done before? And Travis Kelce got really upset by it when they were doing this and making him block. So I don't know if we'll see that. But running backs helping. And the big thing, too, once you start helping with the running back, well, that kind of creates the defense is not dumb. I said, well, if they're going to try to double team one of these, we'll blitz this or do whatever. There's lots of things they can do.
Right.
So let's go to this. The Kansas City.
And let's keep an eye on this guy too for the Kansas City Chiefs. Hollywood Brown.
Yeah,
because he fits that role where, he ends the day with 3-4 catches max, but they are those wrinkle plays that you're talking about that Andy Reid calls, and he gets him wide open in the flat in a third and short situation, and he turns up the field and runs for a big gain or something like that. So he's someone that I feel like can kind of fall under the radar with this offense and have a few specially designed plays for him in that sense.
Well, I think what you're saying is good luck to Philadelphia's defense trying to zero in on anybody besides Travis Kelce.
Right.
So it could be any. I mean, we're really getting to that where, every game when you watch the Chiefs, you go, man, didn't expect Worthy to be the star of this receiving or whatever. So that'll be.
Well, it always goes back to Patrick, right? In that sense that he's the distributor of the ball, and can you create ways to affect him and his decision making? Because that's another question mark. I mean, this guy throughout the playoffs has not one decision where you say, man, that was a dangerous throw. What was he thinking on that play? And that's what's truly amazing by his skill set and his talent.
Yeah, I think, all that is right. I'll come down to this for the Kansas City offense.
Yeah.
The first and foremost thing that you and I are going to watch on Sunday, and you know what we really should do? We should have a live stream as we're watching.
Okay.
Because we do bitch a lot.
Yeah.
Why did he call that play? Oh my God. We all why did they go for it on fourth down? Kick the damn field goal,
Right.
So with
the other 20 people in the living room with you narrating as well.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, that's true too. We got to listen. What's my number one thing? I'll give a little speech. Everybody enjoy the game, enjoy the day, eat and all that. When the game comes on, shut up. I don't want to hear you.
Yeah.
I actually want to hear what everybody's saying during the game.
Yeah.
And of course, we get to listen to Tom Brady too. But my big thing is, I'll go back to this. Kansas City's offense. To me, it's all predicated about this. Can they consistently protect the quarterback?
Yeah.
4 out of 5, 9 out of 10 might not be good enough. It's going to have to be, they got to have maybe the game of the year.
Right.
Now, I say all this and people score against Philadelphia's defense, but I think when they turn up the heat, I think where's the weak spot in their defense? I don't see anything that's where I go, wow.
Yeah.
I think they're good at every spot.
Yeah, and they are. And they got speed.
The linebacking core. Who was your defensive player of the year? I remember.
Yeah, I mean, I thought Zach Bond. I really do. Just the way that he's played, and of course, the talented defensive front in front of him helps him do that. But of course, the story of him being a special teams guy, all of that, now being the main guy in the middle there, and also Oren Burks has played extremely well for this football team, and that's where. Well, yeah, and he's, I guess, quote unquote, a linebacker. Even though I view him as just a straight up defensive end speed rusher, right? But you're right. I think that is where we'll see very early on. How does it look from the perspective of Patrick Mahomes? And of course, early in the game, we'll see that big burst by both defensive lines, mainly more by the Eagles because of how fast they are. But can they endure that first initial jolt by the Philadelphia Eagles and battle through it? And that's where I find that interesting too, because Patrick Mahomes in the last 2 Super Bowls has done that very well against some talented defensive runs, where at moments they got overwhelmed, but as the game wore on, he did a great job avoiding people, creating plays with his legs, checking the football down, and minimizing risk. So that'll absolutely be really interesting to see how that plays out.
Yeah, I was going to do this. Now we talked mainly about Kansas City's offense, go to the Philly defense, but you did a great job of describing everything they got. I kind of let out what I think about Jalen Carter. They got to try to get him matched up against the guy they want. If they do, I say this, and I probably already said it to you last week. To me, he's just he's the modern day Reggie White, just bigger. I'm not going to say he's better because Reggie White was great in his time.
Right.
And maybe Jalen Carter one day could turn out to be great for his time on the field, because athletes have changed so much between Reggie White playing and Jalen Carter coming. The difference is he's probably about 50 pounds heavier than Reggie White.
Yeah.
And man, what an athlete though for as big as he is. And then of course he's got his buddy Jordan Davis standing next to him. My God. As Earl Leggett, I've told you this many times too, defensive line coach under Dan Reeves for a year, had him 1 year. Sims, need two tush hogs up there. And I go, what the hell's a tush hog? He goes, that's a guy when they bend over and get in their stance, you can show a double feature on their brumps. Damn, that's quite a
visual.
But Philly's got that. When they get in their stances and you see the end zone shot, you just go, oh my God, they're huge.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of, it's almost not where I start and finish with the Philadelphia defense. Let's talk just a little bit about their secondary, which we don't even get to talk about because we're so mesmerized by everybody up front.
Yeah, for sure. And that's where, for me, I'm curious. I know Fangio, known to do more zone than man coverage throughout the year and just kind of what their identity of their football team is.
Right.
I'm kind of curious to see if we see a little bit of what, again, Kansas City doing their homework, watching that Washington Commanders game, seeing that when they get in those 5 wide sets, that Fangio then answered occasionally with man coverage in those situations.
Yeah, he did.
And with that, just going from, all right, where is my best matchup with this play going forward and moving there, and then just get the football out quickly. And, that to me is one wrinkle within the Chiefs offense against this Philadelphia Eagles defense that I find curious, because if one guy struggled in man coverage, it was Reed Blankenship on Zach Ertz and some of those obvious passing situations. Okay. I think Reed's a really good football player, but him one-on-one in those situations, now, is he going to be that guy that covers Travis Kelce in those one-on-one situations if they try to run that same type of concept? So that's interesting to see how they play, because other than that, I really do believe that just straight up man coverage in a 11 personnel set, 3 receivers, a tight end, I really don't think that the Eagles will have much problem locking down this receiving core that way. I think the only way they get open versus man coverage is if they are in these empty sets where they spread the field out sideline to sideline.
Yeah, really interesting. That would be, let's come out with something nobody was expecting early in the game.
Yeah.
Maybe you fire the first shot early instead of keeping it all for the end, and we got to surprise them. Well, you're allowed to maybe do a few things early in the game to unsettle the other side. Mm-hmm. So that would be interesting to see if Kansas City would get in those kind of formations. But maybe the Eagles go, let's disrupt them early and hurt their confidence at first drive. It could just be one play out of 3 to get them off the field. But, man, that's a big lift mentally by the Philadelphia defense, and it hurts the offense. And, that's kind of what I see in this game. Who can make that first one to get some emotion and take advantage of that?
Yeah.
Wouldn't shock me. Vic Fangio, Steve Spagnuolo, all these coaches, both sides, Kellen Moore, and, of course, Andy Reid and Matt Nagy, they could do something early, which is what you want to do. You want to get off to a good start. And I hate doing this too, but we played the Denver Broncos in the Super Bowl. They thought we would come out and just run.
Right.
We kind of did that to them in the regular season. Well, we came out and threw a couple passes early. I remember screaming at the sideline after we completed a couple of passes. We were supposed to throw this shot play on the third.
Yeah.
And we didn't call it.
Mm-hmm.
So I stood in the middle of the field telling them what I thought about all of them over there.
Right.
What the hell are you? We worked all week on this. We hit the first, and so whatever.
Still worked out pretty well for you.
Well, yeah, no, I'm just saying, but they was like, okay, we hit 2. Let's just be, I could just see, let's run the ball. Let's get the offensive line into the game. But sometimes, the Super Bowl is a funny game. I've read many things, Matt, I know you have too, about players talking about how they couldn't really concentrate. They lost their breath early, all these things. I think the good thing about this game, a lot of the players and most of the players in this game have been to the Super Bowl, so they kind of understand how to warm up, how to pace themselves.
Yeah.
Because that warm up, man, when y'all were playing the Patriots, the Atlanta Falcons, it's forever.
Yeah.
So you got to be, that all the festivities that go on once you go to the locker room, there's a lot to it. And
that's a great point, because that was one thing that I've shared with you. I've shared with people all the time as one of those small things that, of course, Belichick was very aware of when managing his football team and the expectations of the day and how to go about it and to not peak too soon, right?
Yes.
And for us, we're warming up as if it's a normal Sunday. So we're moving at a good pace. We're being aggressive. We're attacking. We're going. And I look at the other side of the field and I'm like, has
Yes.
anyone even jogged?
No.
Like damn near walking every single play as if they're not even deciding to warm up. I mean, it was just the strangest thing ever. Everyone was in slow motion on the other side of the field.
Yes.
And of course, as the game went on, you realize more and more, wow, the genius of this and the awareness of it too, to learn from obviously their other experiences there, why they did what they did.
The experiences. Yeah, I was sitting in the stands watching you guys warm up and, whatever. Now I look down there and there's Tom Brady and he's got his hand on his hip with the football and they're talking. And then all of a sudden he would drop back like super slow motion and lob a ball. And then they'd go into another 5-minute discussion.
Right.
And because they understood it's going in, we got, everything, marching bands and, the national anthem and whatever. There's tons of stuff. And I even watched it last year. The players go out for their early warm-up now in the NFL.
Yeah, right.
And they're sprinting, they're doing and I'll never forget, JJ Watt said to me, he goes, "Is it always like this?" I said, "Yeah." I said, it's almost ridiculous. He goes, "I can't believe there's no way they're still going to have great energy when it counts because they're warming up by themselves forever." It's kind of a show-off time.
That's true too.
I'm doing the bands, I'm running, whatever, doing all this crap. And then you come out and warm up with the team.
Yeah.
And then, then you go and sit in the locker room for about an hour and then you come out again.
Right.
It's interesting. So you bring up a great point. And yeah, it was funny to watch the difference between Atlanta and New England that day.
Oh, I know. All right. Well, hey, let's not keep doing this. Okay. Yeah, that's another show. Yeah.
Trying to finish it up. All right. Well, let's go to Philadelphia's offense.
Well, before that, all right, who do you give the edge to? Andy Reid or Vic Fangio as the matchup?
Man, that's tough. I'm going to do this. I'm going to give it to Vic Fangio.
Okay.
Yes. I know he has a terrible record, against Andy Reid. That might just say, hey, I'm going to show him, whatever, but I'm going to give him great talent and it's very close, but I'll give it to Vic Fangio.
Okay. All right, great. All right. So now let's go to the Philadelphia Eagles. Their offense.
Where do we start?
You have said, where do we start? We know where we're going to start with this football team. It's the offensive line. Big Phil said it last week on the show. This is the best offensive line maybe in the history of the game. Which is
not the game, since the team I saw down in Dallas with that offensive line.
Okay, right. But
Did
still.
Yeah. So that team
really good.
Super Bowl.
Yeah.
But yeah, go ahead. But I do listen.
That's it.
I think across the board, it's awesome. If the strengths are everywhere. Mekhi Becton at right guard. I'm so happy for him. I really am.
No doubt.
He was with the Jets and it didn't work. And I saw him training in a facility near here the last couple of years. I go, man, he was so dedicated. But there he is playing guard. He's awesome. The tackles are two of the best in the NFL, maybe the best. And the one little area, maybe the center, because he doesn't match the size of these other guys. Can he get pushed around a little bit by, again, Chris Jones could come on a game, line up on him. You never know. Chris Jones, it doesn't shock me. He can line up at every position along the defensive line.
Yeah.
And, so that would be the first thing I think about their O-line. Really no weaknesses, mobile quarterback behind them, all those things. But the size and the just athletic ability of them is easy to see when you look at Philadelphia's offense. What's your thoughts on O-line?
Yeah, I mean, of course, it's amazing, and that's where I'm curious to see Kellen Moore's approach to this football game. And does he lean into, all right, this is what got us here, this is what we're successful at? Do we double down on that and just be really aggressive at the point of the attack? Do they try to do some unbalanced fronts and things of that nature to get a man advantage in just certain one-off plays? Do they get Jalen Hurts involved in the running game earlier than maybe they normally would have, instead of holding it for the red zone area and those quarterback draws. So that's where I find Kellen, I think, has the freedom to do that if he so chooses.
Yes.
And for Saquon, I just think for him, what's the magical number for carries for him? So against the Washington Commanders, as an example, he had 15 for 118. And I feel like if listen, the Chiefs are going to play better than the Commanders as far as they're not going to give up the edge as much and all that. But I feel like that magical number for Saquon is probably going to be anywhere between 20 and 25 carries for them to win this football game, or at least stay on pace as an offense and stay balanced.
I think Kellen Moore is going to run the offense somewhat like it was run 2 years ago.
Okay.
In the Super Bowl.
Right.
And, it's so funny. They bring in another new coordinator. There's Kellen Moore. And what is he doing? He's running the offense where Jalen Hurts has the most success. Wow, what a unique concept. Okay.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, but Matt, it's the under routes, it's double crossing routes. And when they did it, I hate to refer 2 years ago to the Super Bowl, but damn, they were wide open. And it was almost like, when's Jalen Hurts going to miss a pass?
Right.
And then when he made a bad decision and threw a post corner or whatever for the first touchdown, I mean, that was a terrible decision, but his receiver, I forgot who went up and got it, went up and caught the ball while two defenders were trying to find it the whole way. He threw it 55 yards in the air, and it went out of the screen. He threw it so high.
Right.
Which is that's really interesting that I saw. I was like, gosh, I don't remember ever seeing Kansas City play so careful on the defensive side. And as the game went along, it did change. And I think the other thing is, if you want to play aggressive against them, then are you willing to put the game into 50-50?
Yeah.
In other words, you get up there and bump and run against, oh my gosh, I got to say this too. A.J. Brown 2 years ago, Matt, I'm not saying he's gone backwards a little bit, but he was unbelievable looking running in the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And, of course, I watch their games, but I don't just focus in on him.
Right.
But so are you willing to go one-on-one bump and run against A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith? And because I'm telling you, when you do it, no matter what the situation is, Jalen Hurts is going to heave it up there for one of them.
And I guess the guy that matches up best with A.J. Brown in that situation is Jalen Watson, the taller of the two, 6'2". Yeah, I mean, he's got the length and all that. Trent, I would say, is probably the better pure cover corner.
Yes.
But if you're Spags, do you say, yeah, I do live with that. I do live with that situation of the 50-50 and say, we got to do a great job defending the go ball down the sideline. And I'll live with us with the catch and tackles on the unders, on the slants and those other things.
Yeah, you listen, we know it's going to happen. They're going to try, and they have to do these type of things sooner or later. But man, if you're a Chiefs fan, you better hold your breath, because I haven't seen a defensive back all year long make a play and intercept or do something that really makes you come back. And we got to be careful on the offensive side when we do this. I see nothing but positive things for the Philadelphia offense. Right. And I think Jalen Hurts is I think he's a better deep ball thrower than he is a short ball thrower.
Yeah.
So he likes heaving that thing. Mm-hmm. And it's usually almost right on the spot. So that's going to be interesting. And, you talked about Jalen Hurts. I would say this too, for him and their offense and what they do.
Right.
Is I think Kansas City probably will play man and put a spy on him sometimes, which they did 2 years ago. But if I'm Kellen Moore, I'm going to run him early. Let him get hit. You don't have to let him get splattered all over the place, but take a hit. No, you're into the game.
Yeah.
And they did that. I think the last time they had a spy in the Super Bowl, oh my gosh, I'm drawing a blank. Number 32 for Kansas City.
Nick Bolton.
Yes. Thank you. Jalen Hurts had a QB draw on. He went, oh, there he is. Tried to change the football, drops it. Nick Bolton picks it up, runs for a touchdown, changed the game.
Yeah.
They were getting destroyed,
right,
the Kansas City defense up to that point. So I don't want to go back 2 years, but it's really interesting to see how many common threads there are from 2 years ago to right now too.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. And all right, so now in this game, Spags versus Kellen Moore, who do you give that matchup to, coaching wise?
Well, let
Yeah,
me think.
yeah, I know, I
Yeah,
know.
no, I know. Hey, look, I admire Kellen Moore. He's hung in there, and
I mean, not a lot of people would have said you'd give it to Vic Fangio. I mean, so that you surprised
yeah,
us with
no,
that
that's
one.
right. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
right. It's well, sometimes you got enough talent. It doesn't matter who's coaching it.
yeah, that's right.
Right. So Steve Spagnuolo, he's just gotten better and better as a defensive coordinator as years goes along. I'm surprised he wasn't really on the top of the list of people trying to hire a coach. Give him a chance. He's tough. He's been around how to do it with this football team in Kansas City. He's
Yeah.
smart. Players love him. And, even after as hard as they work and all that, but that's another story. But I give it to Steve Spagnuolo for sure.
Yeah, and that's where I really look forward to that chess match as well. And that's what's so great about this football game too. You just got great coaching staffs on either side. The fact that Sirianni wasn't even up for Coach of the Year to me is just crazy. I really look forward to it. The talent on the field, the quarterbacks, Saquon. It's so exciting, this matchup. All right, big guy, who's your pick for the game?
Oh, we're done, huh? I was just going to say a few things about Kansas City's defense, but that's
all
okay.
right. Well, hey, yeah, no, some of us actually have a schedule to keep today. So when we start 50 minutes late, hey, show gets cut a little short.
Wow, you're bitter. You're just going to hang on to this. Hey,
no,
look,
just keeping it real.
Keeping it real. Okay, not real. But you know what? All year long, I picked the Eagles to go to the Super Bowl against the Baltimore Ravens. At least I got one of them. I think they have the best roster in the NFL. And even if they lose, I still would think that I definitely will, even if they lose the game. But I'm going to take the Philadelphia Eagles to win a close game. I'm going to say it's going to get up there. It's just good teams. Sooner or later, the offenses do catch fire. It's not going to be a defensive standoff all day long. I'm going to take the Eagles 31-27.
Oh, wow. Okay. All right. Yeah. I like that. I honestly, man, I was thinking the exact same thing in a lot of ways, like damn near the same score. And just for the sake of this exercise, I am leaning towards the Eagles as well. I think it's the year of Saquon. I think that he's going to end up probably being the damn MVP of the football game because it's just, I don't know. It just seems like he's been destined all year for it to be kind of that way for him with this offensive line and that unit. I think they finished strong. But at the same time, it's tough to pick against Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid and Spags. So I will go the Chiefs. I'll do the same thing you did. I'll just flip the teams. I'm going to go Kansas City 31 and the Philadelphia Eagles 27.
Okay.
And we'll leave it at that. But yeah, I agree. It's going to be right down to the wire.
For MVP of the game, I know Saquon, and he's going to have some big runs. And I've never seen a running back get the ball or be the ball tossed to him and go, I don't see any defenders in the screen.
Yeah.
I have never seen such space for a running back, but I'm going to take Jalen Hurts. I think he's going to win the MVP.
Yeah.
I feel pretty strong about it too. I just think, I watched him get interviewed when they do the interviews on Monday night or whatever that is.
Right.
And it's funny. He's so calm, which he always is, but it was more. It's just the way he was flowing and everything. I said, man, this dude is confident. And why not? They kind of, their last game, they had it rolling, and they got to feel good. And they're they're the bigger team. So I think that's about it.
Well, we know how good AJ Brown is. And of course Jalen playing as well as he did last week or 2 weeks ago. And we say all these things, and we can't forget about Devontae Smith and Dallas Goedert, and just how much of a problem they are matchup wise for defenses. So that's going to be interesting to see how that plays out. That's all we got though for Sims Complete today. Big Phil, always a pleasure. Can't believe you picked the Eagles. Giants fans are just they just can't believe it. They're disappointed. You broke their hearts today, but
I'm not saying it makes me happy, but hey, it's okay.
Yeah,
the war's over. I can talk about the Eagles now and then like what they're doing, respect and everything. I think it's really last thing. And Nick Sirianni, all the ups and downs and all that. Just think he's been to 2 Super Bowls in the last 3 years, And for most of the year, everybody's just killing him.
Yeah.
And, but so he takes it, has a good laugh about it. I do like that about him. He doesn't take it too seriously and all that, but there's no doubt he knows how to coach a football team. And it just seems like his connection to the team has gotten really good here in the last 6 or 8 weeks.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, it's going to be a great game this weekend. We'll see if we get that Sims family live cast going.
Yeah, we'll do that.
We'll work on that. We'll get everyone involved.
we will say what we believe before it happens, right? You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to be a genius after the fact. I'm going to bitch about something as it's going on or whatever.
Okay. All right.
2-point conversions, going for it on 4th down when you don't have to, all that kind of stuff.
Good. Okay. Well, that's what we expect from you. That's the standard you set for all of us here.
Well, the standard is you were mad at me because I was a couple minutes late because I was working. So, okay.
Couple minutes. All right. An hour later, this guy. He's Phil Sims. I'm Matt Sims. This is Sims Complete, Believe Network. Enjoy Super Bowl Sunday. It's going to be a great weekend as always. It's a national holiday. And Big Phil's got the Eagles. I got the Chiefs. It's going to be a good one. We'll be back next time with more breaking down the game. And before you know it, we'll start getting into all that draft stuff and evaluating and into next season, man. So we'll get right to it. But that's all we got. I'm Matt Sims. He's Phil. See you guys next time.